Hi everybody, welcome to Arma Reforger on my Xbox Series S, and in this video I'm going to attempt to do a quick start beginner's guide to this new game from Bohemia Interactive. Just please remember that I'm recording this video at the end of May 2022, and Arma Reforger is a title that is in early access on PC. It's in the game preview program on Xbox, so things are going to be changing pretty rapidly with this title. Arma Reforger it's a testbed really for Bohemia Interactive for the new Infusion engine as they work towards the release of Arma 4. This game will be coming to PlayStation. Maybe it will be out by the time you watch this video. So I'm just going to be introducing some of the features that Arma Reforger has so that you kind of understand what's going on and what you're getting with the game. So first off, Arma Reforger, it's a military simulator type game set in the 1980s with the Russia versus the Soviets against the United States on the island of Everon. There is no campaign. What you do get out of the box is, if you click the play button, you get the tutorial, which you should definitely play through. It introduces you to all the basics behind the game, and you get the conflict game mode. This is the main. I guess if there was a campaign, you could say this is the main game of Arma Reforger. This is set on the entire island, and it's like a massive game of battlefield conquest. With instead of having 5 capture points, there's 50 capture points, but I'll talk about that in a minute. And then we get the Games Master, and that is basically a editor that we can jump into, and we can explore the island, we can spawn in vehicles, we can spawn in enemies, we can spawn in friendlies, and generally create scenarios that we could play with our friends. And then at the moment, in multiplayer, we have the first official game mode out of Bohemia Interactive that expands the game, which is capture and hold. Now, capture and hold is domination, so it tends to be played. It's on smaller sections of the map with, say, 2, 3, or 4 capture points, infantry based. Sometimes you get a couple of vehicles, and you run around capturing flags, and then it's all done on points. So the first person to get to 4,000 points wins. So that's kind of the overall thing. Another core part of Arma Reforger, and as it will be for Arma 4, is the workshop. Now, the workshop in Arma Reforger is in the game. So in previous Bohemia Interactive titles, say for example Arma 3 and DayZ, the workshop was in Steam, which is a PC-only thing. But by bringing the workshop into the game, it means that mods that are developed for PC and console, or in this case Xbox, will work on both. So let's just go back and look at the first mod. So you want to download Capture and Hold straight away, because you'll need that mod in order to be able to play. And what other sort of things will be available in the mods? Well, we have everything from simple weapons that you can add on to things like extra blood or better tracers or single player or multiplayer scenarios. So you know how we said there was no campaign? Well, people are starting to create mini campaigns that you can download and play yourself. In fact, you go into the scenario section, and for example here I've got Night Ops, where you fly into you start off on a small island, you work your way around by yourself killing enemies in order to conquer the radio truck. So it's very, very exciting, and at the moment, and the game's only been out about a week and a half, there's 60 pages of mods. Some are more useful than others, but it's very cool. So what we're going to do next is let's jump into the Games Master and have a look at this. Now, the Games Master, we're going to press Y to restart on the Xbox just to jump in. The idea with this is that it's a live game mode that you can either muck around with yourself like in single player, or you could invite friends in for them to play in a live scenario. At the moment, you can't save anything, so everything's live. So you'd spawn in the enemies, you'd spawn in the vehicles, you'd spawn in the structures that you wanted, and your friends would join, and then you could be like this godlike figure, adding more enemies, or you could jump in and play. But I just want to. This is a really good mode just to kind of get used to it. So basically, what we have is we have the whole island of Everon that we can fly around and we can spawn things in on. This is absolutely amazing. We haven't really had anything like this console. So for example, down here I can hit the place entities button, if I press the right one, and then I can go across the right hand side. I can spawn in me. So I can spawn in me as a character there, and then say next to me, I could spawn in a vehicle. Let's have the, what should we have? Let's have the Hummer with the machine gun on. Like there. And I tell you what, I'd say down here I could put in a group. So let's have a friendly machine gun team. Let's put them here by me. And let's say over here, let's put in a enemy infantry squad. Turn them round there, and then let's. All right, okay, they're already fighting each other. Stop fighting each other. Well, I suppose I should dive in and give them a hand. I'll tell you what we could do. We could get on the machine gun. There go my buddies going across the field. Okay, so let's go back into the Games Master. So hopefully that kind of should show you, how powerful this little mode is, even just as a single player thing. And we could also spawn in things like bases. Like that. It's absolutely fantastic, the Games Master. You can explore the entire map. Excuse me. Set up scenarios and sort of invite in friends and have gameplay. Very, very cool. So let's come out of there. Let's go back to the main menu. And let's have a quick look at capture and hold. So we go to multiplayer, and I'm just going to go into an empty server, and then we'll have the option of playing as the Americans or the Russians, and we'll have an option of choosing our loadout, and then we'll have a look at the map, and then we'll jump out and we'll have a look at conflict after that as well, so give you an idea. So here we go. So now we're just going to, so it tells you the settings. We choose to be the Soviets. We could join a group. Obviously in the real game you would join a radio group. It's very important in Arma Reforger 2 to talk to your teammates. So it could be anti-tank, a guy with a grenade launcher, a guy with a light machine gun, a guy with just a rifleman, or a guy with a sharpshooter. Let's choose the sharpshooter guy. So now what's very difficult to see in these maps are the capture points. They're actually there. So there's A there, B there, and C there. So they capture the points, and you get points for being on the flag, just like you would in something like Battlefield. And it's the first team to 4,000. Then you can choose where you want to spawn. So the Russians are spawning all around here, and the Americans, although we can't see them, will be spawning around there. So there's no auto spawn. So you just choose the spawn you want to go to, press Y, and you will spawn in. And there we go. And then as we capture the capture points, they'll turn red. As the Americans capture them, they'll turn blue, and it's the first person to get to 4,000. There are some vehicles as well down there you can use. In Reforger at the moment, there's no helicopters, there's no tanks, and the only people with like a kind of armoured vehicle is really the Russians, who've got their BMP, I think they call it, or something like that. So as you can see, it's a large map, but it's not as big as the entire island. But it's a really cool game mode to get used to. Fighting in Arma Reforger, get used to changing the weapons and generally doing stuff like that. So that's that. So let's go back to the main menu now. and we will jump into a quick look at conflict mode as well to introduce that. So with conflict mode, you can choose to join a server. So we can click on play and we go conflict. So we could find a server and then we could join one of these. Now at the moment there's only 16, so it's 8v8, which is a bit pants, but it should be going up to 64, so 32 versus 32 eventually. Or you can actually practice it by pressing Y on Xbox to jump into an empty server. Now again, with these states that we're going into, just like the Games Master, when you do jump into an empty conflict session on your console or your PC, it doesn't remember anything. So when you leave it, the session finishes. But it's a great way to learn what's going on. And you'll see when we jump in, I'll show you the map and I'll give you the idea behind what you do in conflict. So we can choose to play again as either the Americans or we can choose to play as the Russians. We don't get to choose our loadout, so we'll play as the US Army, and then we would join a group, and it says where do you want to spawn. Now, so this is the whole map. So the Americans are at the north, the Russians are at the south. We start off just having our own base, our HQ, Alabama, and you can only capture points, which are these yellow things, and these green things, when you are in range of radio. So at the moment, the only capture points that we can capture are Arkansas, Alaska, or Arizona, which are at the Airbase San Felipe, Malden's Bay, or Muir. So we can only capture those. Once we captured Muir, we'll be able to capture Connecticut, and then California and Colorado. And the idea is you make your way down the map till eventually you'll get to be able to capture the enemy HQ. But you can't suddenly jump all the way down here. You've got to kind of hopscotch or stepping stone your way down the map, kind of like this as you're going along. So as you can imagine, teamwork is very, very important. Now there's nothing stopping you driving to the end of the other end of the map to harass the enemies and kill them and generally get in their way and cause hassle, but you won't be able to capture any bases down there. So when your bases have been captured, you'll be able to spawn in at them. And when you see these coastal bases, these things that say coastal base on them, if you capture those, you'll be able to spawn vehicles at them. Because one of the things you've got to do is have supplies. Because if you take supplies to a capture point, you can then build on it. And if you build on it, you can have good things like armories or vehicle service points, so soldiers can become equipped with different weapons and replenish their ammunition, and you'll get things like jeeps appearing and things like that. So supplies and vehicles are very, very important. So let's just quickly deploy, and I kind of show you some of the basics. So when you deploy, the Russian and the American bases are fairly similar. You'll find a vehicle map here. So with the map, you can then request normally the jeep to start off with and a supply truck. So if we request the supply truck, now as you rank up, so as you survive and you kill enemies or you capture points, you will rank up. And as you rank up, you can order better things. So the armoured vehicle, the mobile HQ, which extends your radio range, and different supply trucks. As you can see, we've got this one. So that's a supply truck, so we can drive that in a second. You will also find an armory. So if you go to the armory, you'll find equipment storage, where there you could, for example, equip a Alice bag. So now we've got more capacity, and then we could pick up some more bandages, and we could pick up an anti-tank rocket if we wanted. We could pick up an M16 with a grenade launcher, or we could pick up a scoped weapon, and then we can get more weapon for M16, more weapon for our scoped, more ammo for our scoped weapon. So now we've got a sniper, and we've got our M16. So we're kind of good to go now. And so we can come over here, we can get in, and then we can drive the truck around to the supply point. We can load it full of supplies. Bum, 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 bum. Excellent. And that truck is now to be driven off, and then we can go and capture one of these areas. Now, what does happen is all of these points will be protected by AI bots as well. So you've got to be careful, even when you're playing by yourself. AI bots can be very effective at killing you. So stop well away from the capture point, sneak up on them, shoot them from a long distance, and then capture the capture point and be prepared for counterattacks. Once you've captured a capture point, you'll have friendly bots will appear, and then you go on from there. But the really cool thing about Conflict is just getting on that radio and talking to your squad mates and playing together as a team. Honestly, it really is very, very cool indeed. So do the tutorial, dive in, and you will definitely enjoy it very, very much. Just go back to the main menu. So there we go. That is all the basics behind Arma Reforger. Jump into the Game Master to kind of practice, drive around everyone, have some fun. Multiplayer, capture and hold, it's basically domination. Click on the play button to play around in Conflict. The tutorial is really good. And then keep an eye on the workshop so you can download those single player and multiplayer scenarios, so you can in effect play sort of single player Arma Reforger, which you can then open up in the scenarios box. So there we go. Hopefully that gives you some food for thought and whets your appetite to learn more. Obviously, to learn all the individual things about controlling your player and how to use the weapons and all that sort of stuff, there's loads of good stuff on YouTube, so do a search for that. But maybe this video has been a little bit helpful. If it has been, hit the like button. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe, and I will of course see you again soon.